Well, let's explore the idea that, I want to find my soulmate. I want to find the one person that I'm destined to be with, the person that will make me the happiest. So many people believe in the possibility of a soulmate or finding the one. Well, that too is a relationship myth, and one that needs to be busted. Because if we really want a great relationship, or we want great dates and being with someone that could lead to a solid relationship, if we keep looking for the one, that's actually not the answer. In fact, when we are dating and meeting people and considering partners for our life, we should be with many, many, many people to really learn about them and to learn about ourselves and discover what's possible. As we look at this whole thing about soulmates, the perfect person, I'm destined to find this one, the kinds of things that people believe. And in America, 73% of Americans believe that they're destined to find their one true soulmate. Well, what happens, that belief in this one or the soulmate makes it much more difficult to have intimate relationships because you romanticize the relationship. And often when you have that perspective, those relationships don't last. They're not based on real interactions. They're based on a kind of being saved or kind of a fantasy of a possibility. Those kinds of relationships, when you say, I met the one, he's it, he's the guy I've always wanted, or she's it, she's the woman of my dream, maybe. But check that out, because if you really believe that there's one, a soulmate, the special person that's just designed for you, that perspective could have you not test the relationship enough to find out what it's really about. The relationships with people that think it's like the one, that way, they tend to be passionate at first, but then when problems arise, they think, this must not be the right one, this must not be the one, we're not meant for one another. They don't tend to deal with the issues. They tend to leave rather than to work things through. And it's working things through is actually where closeness comes from. It's not from this fantasized, idealized kind of relationship. And people that think this about the perfect person or whatever, they tend to be more anxious in relationship. They're less likely to forgive their partner or the person they're with for any transgressions because they shouldn't have those problems if they're the soulmate. And they tend to give up when things aren't perfect. And then they start to look again for the right person. Or they do the opposite. They resign themselves to unhappiness. So this belief in a soulmate can lead you to some intense but short romances, but not for long-lasting fulfillment. It doesn't mean you can't find people that you can be with, that you can forge intimate relationships with, but drop the fantasy of the soulmate, the one. Because what the studies show, it's not like meeting the one perfect person. It's really working on a relationship together, working on yourself, learning about yourself, and cultivating a relationship and having the kind of romantic growth. It's cultivating. Think about when you cultivate a field. You plow the field, you plant plants, you water it, you pull the weeds. Relationships are very much the same. They need to be worked on like that, like any organic thing. And if you really look at intimacy as something that you can cultivate, that can grow, that you can work on, you're less likely to reject your partner over some kind of minor disagreement or to get rid of a friend for one, kind of minor things that happen. You're much more likely to work things out together. So the real thing to look for is not the one. It's a couple of things. It's to become the one, to be one that's really becoming the best person you can become. But also look for someone who will learn and grow with you, because that's more important. It's someone who's willing to resolve conflicts as they arise, will talk things through, will be responsible, won't just blame. Look for someone has that kind of integrity. Look for people who are willing to work on themselves, to continue to learn about themselves and to grow, and work on the relationship, that don't just drop it at the first thing that goes wrong or the first moment of unhappiness. The more you can believe that relationships evolve and they grow and they deepen with hard work and the right work, you need the right skills, the better your relationship can be. So it's really not about finding the right person. It's about you being the right person. A person who really has integrity, who's willing to share him or herself, that's learning, growing, willing to work things out, take responsibility for the things that when you make mistakes or do things that aren't so kind or whatever, clean up your messes. but grow. Learning and growing, cultivating relationships is where intimacy comes from, not by just finding the one. You become the one and attract something deeper to your life, and learn and grow together. That's where it becomes more interesting and much more fulfilling. That's one of the secrets to a long-lasting, fulfilling, committed relationship life.